All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Team Lift Podcast. It is your boy Broderick McDaniel and ever lovable Mr. Brandon Bowie in the studio with us today. What's up, buddy?
Not much.
Man, it's been a while since we've done one of these.
Is it like 2 months now?
Yeah, roughly almost 9 weeks since we've actually put a new show out. I was starting to get text about where we've been and why we haven't here. And I just started being real with everybody. I was like, I had depression and I didn't want to talk to you people. That's real.
You're being a dirtbag. That's what it is.
I just got real with people. I had depression and I didn't want to do a show and I wasn't even sure I was going to continue with the show. Such as depression. I'm actually going to do a video and address these issues because it's a lot of freaking calls and information. People were worried, especially superfan Joe Nathan freaked smooth out when I told him that we hadn't recorded in 8 weeks. So he was really panicky. But yet we're here, and wouldn't you know it, what brings us here today is a Marvel movie. Isn't it always a Marvel movie that brings us together?
It seems like it. I mean, that's the only thing that gets us out of the house these days.
Yeah, that's what it really starting to seem like. So we were here for probably the biggest Marvel movie ever. I mean, I think we can say that even after Black Panther's success, this is still the biggest Marvel movie ever. This is what we've been waiting 10 years for. Everything has been leading to this moment. And it was Avengers Infinity War. Now, before we get into this, if you have not seen this movie, get the hell off of this podcast. That's one thing that I think if you've listened to us for a while, you know we don't scratch the surface. We don't do spoiler free. We go deep. We go hardcore. It's pretty much like your first prom night. We get in there, we're going to spoil everything. So if you have not watched the movie, please turn this off. If you stay with this podcast past this point, prepare to have this whole movie ruined and spoiled. We're going to break it down. Okay. Now, since we hadn't done this in a while, we're both a little rusty. I more than you. I made a little list to kind of work from. And I'm not even sure I'm going to cover everything in this list. Okay. Because, in fact, I know I didn't because there's something I got to add to it. In fact, this is weird. I'm not used to working from a list and tracking my thoughts. We usually just kind of free roam this. But you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm going to take you through. I'm going to try to stay in the order of the movie. Forgive me if I don't. But you saw it Thursday, right?
Yeah. Thursday night, 11:55.
Yeah, I went Sunday morning and watched it. And I know Friday you were ready to talk.
Yep.
You were ready to talk and I had not seen it. And you were chomping at the bit. Congratulations to you for shutting the hell up for a whole day and not spoiling anything. I don't know how you got through that day because after I saw it Sunday, all I wanted to do was talk about it.
Yeah.
And so I just pretty much came home, went in my bedroom and locked the door. I did not talk to anyone for the rest of the day. I took a nap and one of my buddies woke me up from the nap because he wanted to talk about it because he watched it Sunday and there was no podcast for him to listen to about it. And he was mad. So, DJ Underwood, this is for you, bud. We're back. Let's get into this. One of the things you did hint me to is that, I kept telling everybody, they were, well, how's it going to be? I went, well, if they follow the comic book, everybody should die. I mean, there's should be a lot of death and destruction. And I remember you telling one of the guys, the first 5 minutes of the movie is death and destruction.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's all you said. And I was like, that's a hell of a hint. So I was like, is it going to be on a planet? What's going on? I don't know what that means, but okay. So I'll go see Sunday and let's start there. First 5 minutes of the movie, Thor, Loki, and this picks up right after Thor Ragnarok. We're on their ship.
Yeah, it literally picks up like where the Stinger left off in Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Which is like the ship, Thanos' ship pulling up in front of the refugee ship.
Whoa. And it was Oh, excuse me. You talk about brutal. That was amazing. They're slaughtering every damn body. Everybody's getting beat down and killed. And what shocked you out of that scene? Did anything shock you from that scene?
Um, Not really. I kind of, I guess Loki's death maybe a little bit because I was expecting Loki to turn and go with Thanos. I wasn't expecting him to actually try to take on Thanos. But that was about it. I knew that they were gonna have to do something with Hulk, and what they did with Hulk was fucking brilliant.
Oh my God, yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Well, let's pick
the
it
Rainbow
apart.
Road was interesting because every time, so somehow, even though we established in the original or in Thor that if the Rainbow Road gets broken, they can't use it anymore, and then somehow they're able to summon and use the Rainbow Road, or I should say, what's his name? Oh my.
Heimdall?
Yeah, Heimdall is able to summon and use the Rainbow Road without the Rainbow Road existing. I'm guessing because of the sword? But how is he able to direct it? Like it almost seems like they broke some of their own lore to just move the story along. Do you remember what was it? In Thor 2, they broke the Rainbow Road? Completely broke it?
But I thought, remember, he was still monitoring the road in part. He was still monitoring the room in Ragnarok.
They rebuilt the Rainbow Road after Thor broke it.
Right.
Because Thor broke the Rainbow Road, I believe, to keep the Dark Elves from getting to Asgard. And then he didn't come back to Earth for like a few months because the Rainbow Road was broken and there was no way to send him to Earth. But now we're whisking Hulk off to Earth using the Rainbow Road when it doesn't exist anymore because the whole of fucking Asgard is dead.
Yeah, that was you thought through that a lot deeper than I did. I just remembered him sending him out, so I kept thinking, does Heimdall have the power to just send people anywhere in the universe?
No, because the Rainbow Road gets tied to the weapon when they go to the forge and he makes Stormbreaker. He says it's powerful enough to summon the Rainbow Road, which means that Heimdall having that sword means that that sword was what was summoning the Rainbow Road, and he was the one who directed people around. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing maybe having the Rainbow Road plus the sword makes him moving it around more exact. Like he can send people to exactly where he wants them to go. Because Hulk didn't land on Earth gracefully.
He did not.
But he did end up exactly where he needed to be.
Which is mysterious in and of itself.
Well, it's not really mysterious because Heimdall can see everything. He knows where everything is in the entire universe. Also, Heimdall dying really pissed me off. I was like, God damn it. Why is Heimdall dead? If they do not bring him back when they fucking... Okay, so here's my prediction for the next film. The next film is...
No. You hold on. We're not getting there. You're not jumping to the end yet. We're going through this. Mark that down. You don't get to jump to the end. So we now have Heimdall dead in the first 5 minutes. Let's talk about that Loki death, because to me, that was the most shocking.
Loki getting to redeem himself?
Yeah, I mean, he goes out a hero and he goes out a G, but man, you talk about brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a savage death, man.
If he actually died. I mean, Loki's died many times.
Yeah, if he actually died, now that brings us to the second thing. So, everybody, if you saw Thor Ragnarok, you know that the Hulk was on board the ship, the refugee ship of Asgardians.
Where's Valkyrie? Where's Valkyrie?
We're gonna get to that.
Where's the rest of the guys that were with him? Where's fucking
like Korg and
yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna get to that. I got some information for you on that. I was looking into this. So the way they deal with Hulk takes the worst ass whooping I have ever seen. They treated Hulk like Rodney King. He got beat the hell down by Thanos. Like he was not a threat. Like they've established that Thanos is more powerful than the Hulk.
Yeah.
At a point where it wasn't even a fight for Thanos. He didn't even break a sweat.
I think that they did that so that because the main problem was like in Civil War, if Hulk and Thor were on Earth during Civil War, that fight wouldn't have lasted like 5 minutes. And so we already know there are two most powerful guys. And arguably Hulk is more powerful than Thor is, even though technically Thor would have won that fight
in the gladiator pit.
But since that never occurred, that kind of says, okay, Thor's probably more powerful than Hulk, and Hulk just got his ass whooped. So now we know Thanos is more powerful than everybody.
Yeah, because let's face it, when the Hulk comes out to start giving his ass whooping, Thor's already beat down. Thor looks like he has had the dog piss whipped out of him. Okay. And now on top of that, I thought it was a great callback to the first Avengers film where Loki says, we have a Hulk. And then Hulk comes out and starts laying the smack down and gets punked out so bad that the Hulk never comes out for the rest of the film. Mm-hmm. Which I thought was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. We have now taken the Hulk out of the equation for the rest of the movie. The Hulk is actually scared to come out. Banner cannot change into the Hulk anymore for the rest of the film.
Yeah.
Because the Hulk has met something that he is scared of and does not want to come out. Like he sounded like he was frightened. Like, come on, big guy. No. He turned into the Hulk long enough to say, no, I ain't coming out.
But he did that like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. He did not want any part of Thanos anymore, bro. He was not coming to face Thanos. Thanos tore him a new one. So, in fact, I did do some research on this. Now, it was, it looks like one of the things that was said online, one of the Russo brothers was talking at his high school in Iowa, and he has come out and said that some Asgardians did make it to escape pods.
Yeah.
So,
Valkyrie might be alive?
To be one of those that might be alive. Because she explicitly does not die on screen. But here's where it gets more.
But that doesn't mean she didn't fade away.
True enough, but we don't have we don't have evidence that she did or that she didn't. Now, here's where my other problem is. Korg, he's not telling where Korg is.
I mean, Korg's a big rock man. Like, he could probably survive floating through space.
Yeah, possibly. But yeah, he never says anything about Korg. And I think Korg was one of the standouts in Ragnarok.
And Korg's buddy, what the fuck was his name with the knives for hands?
I don't remember that little thing's name. I only remember Korg because he was funny.
Let's go look. Yeah, I'm going to go look it up. Let's see. Mike? Meek? M-I-E-K, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's his name. M-I-E-K.
Your guess is
Mick?
As good as mine, buddy.
I don't know, this pronunciation guide is retarded. I think his name is Meek or Mike.
We'll go with it. But he wasn't there. So that leaves us 3 MIA, and the 4 we do know. Of that 4, only 2 survive.
Mm-hmm.
Because Heimdall's dead, Loki's dead, Thor beat down, left for dead, and Bruce Banner is sent to Earth.
Yep. Winds up at the Sanctum Sanctorum in New York.
And that brings in Doctor Strange and Wong into the picture.
Yeah.
Now, we have Doctor Strange and we have Wong here. This gets really interesting. So we have Doctor Strange, we have Wong, and they're getting ready to go out somewhere for lunch, and Bruce Banner crashes through the building.
Cut to Tony Stark on a jog with Pepper Potts. Apparently, they're getting married, and she's still pissed at him for being Iron Man. I don't understand it.
Yeah, which I don't get. Like, do you think he's going to give up being Iron Man to be your husband? I'm not quite sure what she thinks.
Yeah.
Really
at least we did get an answer to the question of whether or not Tony Stark got help with his new suit or not, which is explicitly he built it himself using nanotechnology.
Mm-hmm.
So it's essentially the extremis armor, only it's not embedded inside of him. It's embedded in the power reactor in his chest, or that he's wearing on his chest, I guess.
Yep.
And he has some kind of undersuit that he wears around with it. So I'm guessing...
She seemed to keep asking him why he was still wearing it, which to me hints at, does he need the armor anymore? There seemed to be something else going on there, with that conversation.
No, I think it's she's like... Because in Civil War, he had essentially said that he was done... he was a non-combatant. Like, all he was in charge. He was not going to be Iron Man anymore. And then I'm guessing he just kept working on different armors and made that one. And I guess he decided that he needed to continue wearing it because there were still threats out there or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't figure that whole thing out. I'm kind of pulling up some information on it. Give me a second.
I'm wondering if they're going to even parlay any of the shit that just happened in this into the MCU shows. I mean, I know that S.H.I.E.L.D. really isn't going to be affected, I'm guessing, because they're not even on Earth. They're in space. And so that leaves like Jessica Jones and Daredevil and Luke Cage and, unfortunately, Iron Fist to be affected by this. Although I doubt they're going to do anything big. I mean, we know Misty Knight's got her arm now, so Misty Knight didn't bite it. It'd be interesting for them to actually do something other than just reference, oh, hey, New York got trashed again, and then just move on like they had before.
It's going to be hard for them to reference. I don't think it'll be hard for them to reference it. It's just going to be hard for them to say half the world disappears and the supers are gone. And the supers that are left are them, the lesser knowns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they may go in that position, but I don't know how much of that they're going to pull in. I mean, let's be honest. It wasn't like the comics really addressed that either. I mean, yeah, there were tie-in comics, but those were little one-shot issues when you're talking about a big maxi series of 12-issue miniseries is going on. Those side issues don't really get into a lot of the beef. They just kind of give you some more exploratory story to deal with.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about this. So we get Doctor Strange. We got Wong. We kind of see, that whole thing with Pepper. It was kind of nice to see Pepper and Tony together again. I like that. But then Doctor Strange shows up and says, we need you to come with us. And we see Mark Ruffalo. We see Bruce Banner. And he's now telling them about the threat. Now, I'm going to say this. The movie could have been Iron Man versus Doctor Strange, and I'd have paid for the price of admission to see those two egomaniacs argue. That was some of my favorite dialogue the whole movie, was watching these two argue. And when he called him a douchebag, I was like, oh, this is not your normal Disney Avengers movie we're getting to call people douchebags. We're going. There were people called assholes in the movie. I was kind of shocked. I was like, wow, they really. They're kind of getting a little loose with the language, knowing kids are going to be in the audience. I thought that was risky. Looked like it set the tone that this was a mature movie.
Mm-hmm.
This was going to be a very mature film, and it was going to deal with some mature subject. Is what I thought that was the first hint, just how the language was kind of. They're getting a little rougher with the language than they would.
So, how many children's lives have you ruined so far since the movie came out?
Bro, let me tell you, I didn't ruin any of those kids' lives that were in that showing with me. Their parents ruined their lives. There was a child that, without getting too far ahead, there was a child that lost his shit twice during the movie. Twice. And when I say lost it, I mean crying uncontrollably to the point where he had to pull a jacket up to his face and his mouth and cry into that. And it was a muffled cry. And it was like, I was listening to this and I said, some kid just got their soul snatched through their nose, out of their body, through their nose. It is the most painful thing this child has ever seen or gone through. We're going to get to those points because when it happens, I'm going to tell you, and this is where he cried. It was pretty impressive. It was pretty impressive.
The way that they dealt once they managed to get onto the ship, Tony and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange are on a ship that's headed to Thanos because Doctor Strange has the time stone and Thanos wants it. And how they dealt with I can't even remember his fucking name. What was that guy's name from
Ebony Maw?
Ebony Maw. How they dealt with Ebony Maw was both awesome and head scratching at the same time because it was just too fucking easy.
Yeah.
I mean, Ebony Maw could have done there was a lot of space between him on that platform and him getting sucked the fuck out of the ship where he could have done something to stop it.
He went out kind of like, well, hold on. If I mean,
Spider-Man had enough time to react. I think
he died first too in the comic book.
Well, I don't mind him dying, but it was almost like they set him up to be like he was the spokesman. He's this scary motherfucker, basically, and they just dealt with him too quickly, in my opinion. Like, they just took him the fuck out like it was nothing.
Bro, I don't know what you thought you were going to get, because to me, hell, the movie was damn near 2.5 hours long. They needed to kill his ass quick. We can't sit there for 30 minutes fighting this one thing. I mean, let's be real. Okay, they need to get rid of this fool, because if you look at it, the rest of them were more physically imposing. Ebony Maw was just, I'm going to use these psychic powers to jack you up. I'm going to float stuff and fight you that way. So it wasn't like he was this muscle-bound guy. And you were going up against Iron Man, and let us not forget the Iron Spider.
Yeah. By the way, that fucking armor was fucking amazing.
Oh, yeah, no.
I mean, I've seen that armor before. I was expecting it, but I wasn't. I was when he finally popped out the extra arms. I was like, yes, Iron Spider, let's do it.
Yeah, no, I was so impressed when that popped out. I was just like, oh, we got real. Now, here's the thing. This movie actually surprises me a couple of times. Now, I'm still getting over the fact that Loki's dead when Iron Spider shows up on the screen, and I'm like, okay, they're really busting.
They're not
out
fucking around. They're not fucking around.
The surprises, like, because usually when I go into these movies, and I've said this to you before, I always have an idea how it's going to go because I've read the comic books. This is the first time I went into a movie and I was actually like, I felt like the people around me, I was seeing stuff and I was just like, oh my God, this is so surprising. I didn't see that coming.
Mm-hmm.
So there were some good ones. There were some real good ones in there, but that was really impressive. I thought the fight in downtown was, I thought that was impressive.
Yeah.
I really thought that was impressive. I was really like that whole thing, where it was Ebony Maw and see, this is where the Black Order always gives me crap because when I try to remember their names, I never do. Because I know Ebony Maw, I can't forget his name because I play the Marvel Future Fight game.
Isn't Ebony Maw in the comics kind of like a...
No, he looked just like that.
No. What I mean, his power set in the comics is more akin to just being stupidly persuasive. He doesn't have like the mental telekinesis and stuff.
I thought he could teleport too, but yeah, I don't think he had telekinesis.
Yeah, he was kind of like the Purple Man, but he didn't have like a psychic component or a viral component or anything. He was just really fucking persuasive. And he could make you do things that he wanted you to do just by talking to you for long enough.
Yeah, no, they did some crazy stuff. So, yeah, the fight, Black Dwarf, that was his name. Because, in the comic book, if you read it, it says as presented by Hickman and Opena in Infinity, the comic was, it appears to be lying. He has manifested no physical abilities, just the ability to manipulate anyone and anything into doing what he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he just talks people into doing whatever he wants them to do. But yeah, that scene where he's fucking torturing Doctor Strange. I like that when they did the close up on him, you could still see that Doctor Strange still had the fucking scars on his hands. Like they didn't forget to put that in. Not like I figured they were gonna forget it, but like when you're watching it and you see that, you're reminded of how much pain this man has already been put through. And you know that there isn't any amount of pain that Ebony Maw is going to be able to put him through that's going to make him do what he wants.
Right.
Because he's already been through that shit. I think that's why they did that close up and they showed his hands, was just to give you that visual again.
That's true too. Now, they did Corvus Glaive great. He looked like the comic book. Ebony Maw looked like the comic book. Proxima Midnight looked better than the comic book to me. I liked her in the movie.
Yeah.
And the only one, there's 5 of them in the comics. So the only one that wasn't in here was Supergiant. She didn't make it, but Black Dwarf, Ebony Maw, Corvus Glaive, and Proxima Midnight. They were all there. And I thought, wow, they really did a good job with those. Every time they showed up, you knew shit was about to get real. Every time. There was not one time they showed up that you thought, oh, yeah, this ain't going to be that bad. No, you knew somebody's about to die. Somebody's about to get beat down. I thought they matched up really well. Except one point. There's one point, and we can talk about that. Vision in Scarlet Witch.
Oh, man.
We finally got to see the romance the way we wanted to see it. We got to see them had been like they've been traveling. It looks like Tony had set that up for them to go off, to go have some time alone as a couple and to be in love. I thought that was cool. I really did.
Yeah.
But we also saw that they kind of went off the radar, and that was to their own detriment because Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight were hunting him down to get the soul gem from Vision. And we saw that team is Vision in and of itself, pretty super strong guy. You know what I mean? He damn near single-handedly took down Ultron. And to see him get wiped up like that in the movie.
Yeah. He got
shocking.
surprised too. I think part of that was that they got the drop on him and managed to stab him even though he was trying to phase through matter to allow it to pass through him. I think that because they had a weapon that could keep him from phasing, they were able to surprise him because he's used to like just allowing things to pass through him. And that cockiness, I guess, or that ingrained reflex, and not knowing how to actually fight properly hand to hand against weapons was his detriment. Like, that was his weakness, is relying on his powers too much.
Isn't that what they all do, though? Eventually?
Yeah. But I mean, with Vision, if Vision would have spent the last 2 years training in hand-to-hand combat and specifically not using his phasing ability unless he absolutely had to, he probably would have made it out of that fight. But he didn't.
Oh, yeah.
He spent the last 2 years like trying to pretend that he was a human and having a relationship with Scarlet Witch.
I think another thing that shocked me about that was Scarlet Witch is so powerful in and of herself that she actually wipes out mutants in the comic books.
Yeah.
And
the House of M.
Yeah, they don't really play her up as being that powerful. I mean, kind of in Civil War, you knew her powers could go out of whack because she levels a building and people die. But I don't think the cinematic Scarlet Witch, I don't think we got a Scarlet Witch yet in a cinematic universe that is as powerful as she really is.
And nobody in the MCU is as powerful as they are in the comics. If Thanos was as powerful as he was in the comics, in the movie, he literally could have defeated all of Earth's superheroes without the goddamn gauntlet. Like, he could have just crushed everybody. And that's what happens. Like, that whole movie would have been 5 minutes of him just walking up and punching everybody one at a time to death with one blow.
Except Squirrel Girl.
Yeah. Well, she doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, which the movie would have been over in 5 minutes as one of the few heroes who is going
by the way
with Thanos and beat him.
I want my goddamn Thanos copter. What the fuck?
Why do you want a Thanos copter?
Because it's funny.
You know it is.
Because it would be the funniest goddamn thing in that whole movie.
If they put a Thanos copter in there, you'd be the first one bitching about how cheesy that shit was. So you shut up. You don't get to say that. You don't get to play both sides. I would have fucking
lost my shit screaming, "They fucking did it. They fucking did it." Over and over again.
Copter. No. What did you think about the Stan Lee cameo?
Oh, God, I don't even remember what it was.
He was the bus driver.
The bus driver. Okay, yeah, that's right. In the Spider-Man bus in the beginning of the movie. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
You never seen a fucking spaceship before? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, it's such a great line, dude. Them kids did not know. He was the grouchiest bus driver ever. I liked how he asked his buddy, Peter asked his friend, "Hey, make a scene for me. We're all going to die." Like, he really didn't need any help with trying to make a scene. He just did that. That's just like, okay. That was beautiful. This will take us through. So we watched a fight. Corvus Glaive, Proxima Midnight taking on a tag team championship match. They take on the Scarlet Witch and the Vision and damn near kill them right there. Until the closest we're going to get to the Dark Avengers shows up. The Black Op Avengers, Captain America, Black Widow, and Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
Closest we're getting to the Dark Avengers ever. That's it. That was it. That's the closest we will ever get to it existing, was to see that, what we saw on screen. And they did not play around. They can't. What I liked about them is the line, they've injured Corvus Glaive, and it says, "Look, we don't want to kill you, but we will." And I knew at that point, I said, yeah, this is dark Captain America.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the way it should be, though.
I loved it. That was what I wanted. I wanted to see that component. When they went on the run at the end of Civil War, I was like, are they going to launch the Dark Avengers? What are we doing with that? Because that team was, in and of itself, was a Black Ops team.
So they explained away Ant-Man
And Hawkeye.
and Hawkeye as they both retired under pain of going to prison for the rest of their lives by the U.S. government.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they weren't in the movie at all.
Yeah, they were both on house arrest.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was great because, one, they both had families. Ant-Man has a daughter. Hawkeye had kids, a baby on the way. So they're ankle monitors and house arrest. Great.
But putting an ankle monitor on Ant-Man isn't going to do shit. He could just put on his fucking suit underneath the ankle monitor and shrink and then attach it to a fucking ant and let the ant run around in the house all the time. And they would always think that he's at home. He could do whatever he wants.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because you do know that the movie is taking place right before the events.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Somebody hit me with this and they asked me the question, what about why is Ant-Man not going to be disappeared when the battle with Thanos happens? I went, because he's in a different universe. He said, what? I said, yeah, the microverse has been determined by the MCU as well as, in comic books. It's another universe. Although it's in our universe.
It's another dimension. It's not another universe. In Marvel terms, universes are everything. And then, so you can have, like, Earth 616 is a universe, and MCU is a universe. But pocket dimensions are an entirely different thing. So you can have a space within that universe that is connected to that universe, but is not a part of it.
They're not affected by what happens in the other parts of it. So I think that's how we're going to get that explained in the movie. Because they're real big about that whole thing. I like that.
That's why, like, Dormammu that's a pocket universe.
Yep.
The universe or a pocket dimension where Dormammu exists that's outside of our normal space-time.
Yeah. Good callback, man. Doctor Strange callback. Great one. Yeah, I like that. So I think they did a great job by explaining where those two were. Still kind of sets us up that possibly Hawkeye as Ronan comes back for the second one.
I was hoping we were going to get Bucky Cap, but nope. Fuck that.
Well, you're not getting Falcon Cap either.
Yeah.
No,
wait. Falcon was alive, wasn't he?
We'll get to that. I'm saving that for the last.
Anyway.
Yeah, I can tell you who's going. So
I need to go back and watch it like 2 or 3 more times.
Guardians of the Galaxy show up. Probably the funniest highlight of the entire film. This film is already brutal. We've watched some people get their asses handed to them. Some people are dead, and some people almost died. Mm-hmm. And we got 2 severely injured. Corvus Glaive is injured. Vision's injured. And we're not sure they're going to make it through the end of the film. And the Guardians show up finally to break all this death and destruction to give us some levity. And they're meeting Thor for the first time.
By hitting him with their ship.
Yeah, and I'm going to promise you right now, my favorite moments of the movie are always when Drax is on screen.
Seriously.
God, please. I never want anything to happen to David Bautista because I love him as Drax. I could not have anybody else in that role. Nobody would bring that role justice like he does. Man, his comedic timing is gold in these movies. Like the thing where he was like, I've learned to stand so perfectly still that I'm invisible.
How long have you been standing there? An hour.
That whole thing, people see that thing, know what that means. That is you're going to see a part. Hi, Drax. Yeah, Mantis and him could set their own Abbott and Costello adventure across the universe movie up, and I'd crack smooth up through that whole movie, man. Drax and Mantis are
they're going to have a hard time with that now.
Yeah, they would. They are. So here, let's go ahead and get into this. So if you're this far with us, you already know. We're telling you a lot of people are dead. Damn near everybody dies in the movie. Okay, so that's
somebody edited the poster to remove everybody who died at the end of the film and just leave the ones that are left, and it's fucking amazing.
Oh, I don't even want to see it because it's brutal. It is so savage. So we get this thing where everybody meets Thor for the first time, and they are all man crushing on Thor. The entire Guardians team man crushes him. When Drax says, "No, you are a boy. This is a man. This is like an angel and a pirate had a baby." That is the greatest line ever, is when he says that. And I'm just kind of looking at like Peter Quill is just getting his feelings real. And the Gamora filling his muscles up as he's passed out on the boat. I was like, this is amazing. I cannot believe this is awesome. And him still calling Rocket Rabbit the whole movie, and Rocket does not get mad about it. He just lets it happen. Anybody else
is not being called a raccoon.
Yeah, anybody else would have called him Rabbit. He'd have been pissed off and fought. He gets called Rabbit from Thor, and it's like, this is okay. This is okay. I'm letting this one slide. What did you think?
I honestly just cringed through that whole thing.
Really?
It was just too over the top.
Isn't every Guardians movie over the top?
Yeah, I know, but like that whole scene was cringe-inducing to me.
Oh, I loved it.
Because I don't know why, but it didn't. I would hope that, you know, there was a that they brought in like James Gunn to write the dialogue for the Guardians characters, and that they brought in you know, whoever was writing for Tony Stark, and like they brought in all of the other creators who worked on the other films and wrote the other films to come in to help write the scenes and write the dialogue for the individual characters, so that it didn't sound like it was the Russo brothers writing Guardians. And in that scene, it failed completely. Like it felt like the Russo brothers wrote that and that James Gunn didn't write that, if that makes sense.
To me, like, it felt like a Guardians movie to me, because I expect jokes and
all of the other
craziness.
scenes with them, once they part ways, all of the other scenes were fine. I didn't have any problems with all of them.
Yeah,
maybe I'll think differently after I watch it again. But I just did not find it funny. I was just like, please let this be over. It is so fucking uncomfortable.
The entire theater I was with cracked up through those.
I know everybody in the theater was laughing, but me. I don't know why. Maybe it's me.
Maybe you are wrong.
I'm the problem.
Yeah, you might be the problem on this one. I thought it was really, to me, it captured the Guardians that I wanted to see. And in a movie like what we were about to go through, we needed those scenes. We really needed those scenes. This would have been the most depressing 2.5 hours of our life had they not had those scenes. And then after they kind of break apart and they go on their own ways and they're starting to set up the teams, I thought, hey, wow, okay, they've done really well. The pacing has been great. We set up all these little pocket teams that are on their own ways and kind of doing their own things and going to their places.
I think the Russo brothers are so good at that because they've done episodic television before doing these movies. And their episodic television has a diverse cast of characters that's been broken up into multiple storylines, and they treated this whole, like the whole thing, the whole of Infinity War, as if it's a 6-part miniseries with an hour of storytelling broken up in 3 and 3 hours in the first film, 3 hours in the second film, an hour for each story. And then if you watch it, sometimes it's not exactly like this, but it almost seems like every 15 minutes we're going back to a different storyline. And if we've been away from a set of characters for more than half an hour, we go back to that set of characters to remind you that they exist.
I felt that's true, and I do think they did, and it did it well because it was a good run for me. I felt like they really kind of nailed what they were wanting to do with that, and they did hit all the characters, all the high points. They kind of went through and got everybody where we wanted to know. Okay, well, what's going on with, for example, by the time they got to the Guardians and we saw Thor, and then they're going to take off on their journey, it brings us right back to Peter and Doctor Strange and Tony dealing with Ebony Maw. Yeah. And then after we watch that and we kind of get caught up on where they were, we go back to Captain America and Vision and that team, and it looks like we're about to introduce Black Panther. And the theater, when Black Panther showed up, man, I don't know about your theater, but people just were still on the Black Panther high. He showed up and people were like, woo! I was like, damn, y'all catcalling the brother? He can't get no quiet. That's like they were so happy to see Black Panther on screen, man.
That's the exact reason why I go to the draft house, so I don't have to deal with that shit.
Yeah, because man.
You say some shit hyped like that, you get the fuck out.
Bro, man, I mean,
you can react, you can laugh, you can clap, you can fucking, have whatever emotion you're feeling is fine, but if you start fucking talking, get the fuck out.
No, it wasn't no talking. They were just, when he came in, it was like, oh. People caught emotions. They were like, those chairs are now wet. Okay, don't sit in those chairs. Get those chairs out of here. Get new chairs. Those chairs are no good anymore. But when he shows up, and I'm like, dang, okay, so Black Panther's here. Shuri shows up. I really wanted to see Shuri and Peter Parker on the screen together. I still want to see that happen eventually in the MCU.
Good luck.
I want to see those two on screen together somewhere.
I don't think it's going to happen, honestly. Not unless there's like a Wakanda outreach program, like where he goes to go intern in Wakanda or something.
Yeah, something's got to happen where they all meet. Because, it was just so good. And Tom Holland this movie made him my favorite Spider-Man ever.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it. I was not hyped about the idea of Peter Parker going back to being such a young character in the MCU.
No, he's going to be young.
He is so freaking well done. And it's just, Tom Holland just is my Peter Parker now.
Yeah.
Done. No question about it. He just nails and embodies that role so well. So I liked all that.
We're all going to die.
Oh my gosh, dude. That's him and his partner, man. They were nutty. So I loved everything. I loved how they were setting it up. I loved the pacing. Then once we kind of get to the idea, it's that we have the two biggest egos. That kind of was fascinating to me. The dialogue between Tony Stark and Stephen Strange, where these two great minds are battling each other.
Yeah.
Those were some great arguments, man. That was great dialogue and banter going between the two. What I really thought set it off was like a lot of that could have been real serious. But when Peter Quill shows up and, hey, here's a better plan. Your plan sucks, so listen to my plan. I thought, that's Peter Quill. That's the Peter Quill we would want in that situation.
Like I said, that's all of that dialogue, like everything other than the Thor interaction is perfect. It's all spot on. It works. Especially when he's like, well, you're 50% human. Well, then you're 100% dumb. I can't even remember what the fuck he was talking about.
Yeah, when he said, look, I'm 50% celestial and only 50% human, but you're 100% human, which means the 50% of me is 100% of all the dumb in you. And I was like, did this fool just say that?
That's the other thing that we need to talk about is how is the half determined? Because Rocket is the only Rocket. There are other raccoons, but Rocket has been genetically modified So he is the only one that's like him in existence, and he didn't disappear. So
it was, even in the comic book, it didn't go into that thing. What if you paid attention what it did? It took out the most emotionally impacting characters and the fan favorites. Think about it.
So literally all of Guardians of the Galaxy, except Rocket, are the most emotionally impacting people.
I think those are the hugest fan favorites. Drax is fucking hilarious. And
by the way,
people were torn up by Groot the first time.
Oh God. So I'm sitting with my wife through the movie, and the whole time she's holding my hand, and every time something fucked up happened, I thought she was gonna crush the bones in my hand.
Like, does she squeeze?
Yeah. So when Drax falls apart, clinch. And then and when Mantis turns into fucking spaghetti, or like a Slinky, the same thing. Like, I didn't think my hand was gonna make it through that scene until the very end.
I thought I was tripping because I said, dang, he's just gonna kill him right now. And then when he leaves, they go back to normal reality. And I was like,
I mean, does that mean that the Reality Stone isn't as powerful as it should be, or does that mean that he wasn't using it to the extent that
he's just messing with him now because he's wiping. He just altered reality enough for him to say, I'm about to leave, and it'll revert back. But you can't stop me right now.
Was it just arrogance, I guess?
Oh,
also,
God.
Can we talk about how the main character of this movie is fucking Thanos? The main character is the bad guy. The main character of this movie is Thanos.
The movie is told from Thanos' point of view.
Yeah.
And I think what's so fascinating about it being told from his point of view is Marvel has a lot of times where the most memorable films are with the most memorable villains. Black Panther would not have been a great film if we didn't sympathize with Killmonger. The Avengers in the Thor films would not be as good if half the audience doesn't find themselves kind of rooting for Loki a little bit.
Yeah.
And Thanos is so big, he has his own Reddit room.
Thanos did nothing wrong.
Exactly. And the only other movie that has a room where is the Empire basically Star Wars.
Yeah.
The Empire did nothing wrong, which is where a group of people have now made them the good guys of these films.
Yeah.
Thanos had a great idea. Thanos just said, "Hey, look,
but
I'm trying to save people from overcrowding. I'm trying to save people from being hungry at night."
But there's no reason to kill everybody. You could just make more planets, or you could make more food, or you could make more abundance on all of the worlds where they exist. Like, there's a lot easier ways to achieve what he was going to try to achieve with the gauntlet than fucking killing half of everybody.
Yeah, see, Thanos is, he's maniacal for a reason. He's a mad titan. Now, here's the thing. If we really looked at what happened in the comic book, it was because he was so in love with Death, who was a female personified, he was going to kill half the universe as a token of his love for her. Yeah. And
but since we don't have Deadpool and we haven't introduced Lady Death, and we've kind of made it that Hela is Death, none of that holds up.
So I was kind of like, I mean, to me, that was a small MCU change that he's just like, yep, I'm just going to settle it this way. And I was like, okay, I'm just going with this. That's how they're doing it now. They're just going to settle up that he's going to kill half of everybody and nobody will ever be hungry. Overcrowding is no longer an issue on this planet because half of everybody's gone. So I found that impressive. Takes me to the next death. Gamora. Did not see it coming. That Gamora death got me, bro.
Yeah.
I was thrown off by that one. I didn't see that one coming. But excellent use of the Red Skull as the Watcher.
Yeah, that was... I was like, how the fuck did they get Jeremy Irons to come back and even voice the character? And then come to find out, they didn't. They just got some other guy who can do a really good Jeremy Irons impression to voice him. And he was completely CG the whole time. There's never a point where that character was ever actually a person. I mean, they may have motion captured with somebody in like green, but yeah, that was not Jeremy Irons. That was a completely different actor. It's just a voice actor. Let's see, Red Skull, Infinity War. Go look at it. IMDb. No, that's not what I want. That's what I want. Of course, it's not on the main page because he's a voice actor. Ross Marquand, Marquand, was Red Skull. He was just a voice. And they specifically did that because Jeremy Irons was like, I'm never doing the character again. I only want to be in this single movie and that's it. And I guess they've progressed enough and we have enough fully CG characters at this point that they were just like, fuck it, we'll just make him CG. We'll give him a different voice and nobody will know the difference.
Bro, you got me with that. I did not know it wasn't the same guy.
Yeah. He's Aaron on The Walking Dead, if you've ever watched The Walking Dead.
I do. Yeah, I do know who that is. So cool. Blown away, bro. You win tonight. You got me. You got me with that one. Man, we doing a raid and I'm watching everybody die.
So he sacrifices his beloved daughter. Did you think that we were going to see Thanos cry?
No. Hell to the no. No. Not in any shape, form, or fashion. In fact, when Red Skull, she says, tears, and he goes, they're not for him.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, crap. I know it's about to get real now. So I was kind of blown away by that. Which shocked me. It means that he really did love her like a daughter. I mean, they were really sympathetic in how he saved her on that planet. You know, like he had that moment of tenderness toward her and kind of shielded her from the death of everybody. They really did try to make Thanos look like a sympathetic character, even though he's about to kill half of us.
What they've figured out is that if you make it so that the villain has an idea that's right, but is going about it the wrong way, that's how you hook an audience and you make a great villain. So in Civil War, we had a villain who, he's right. The way that the Avengers are operating needs to end. But he goes about that instead of, becoming an activist, instead of, getting on television, using his contacts in the government because he's ex-military to try to help to push the agenda, to push the accords through and make everybody comply with them. He's like, no, I'm going to bomb people. I'm going to force the accords on everybody, and I'm going to break up the Avengers because I'm going to tear everything apart because I'm mad. And that's an amazing villain because he's doing the right thing the wrong way. And in Black Panther, we had the same thing. He's right. Wakanda does need to open its borders. Wakanda does need to start helping, but Wakanda doesn't need to start helping by trying to take over the planet, and force everybody to be subservient to them.
Right.
And Thanos is right. There is overpopulation. There is suffering because society doesn't know how to limit itself, because life just multiplies exponentially and doesn't care that the resources are finite, and that it would be a lot better if half of us were gone. And he goes about it the completely wrong fucking way, which is I'm going to exterminate half the life in the universe, instead of doing it the sane way, which is I want to end this suffering. I'm going to end this suffering by increasing resources.
Yeah, I don't know if he was wrong, because I do a customer service job, and if half of those customers would have disappeared, I wouldn't have been that upset.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, there are people I've talked to where I say, some of you don't need to be on this planet.
Man, could you imagine how much bandwidth there would be on the internet? Half these motherfuckers were gone.
Bruh. If we're the lucky ones, yeah. And we get to stay. Because I might be one of the half that disappear. What gets me would be that the movie would be over with me, because he'd be like, okay, I'm going to kill half. And I say, no, keep them. Take me. Okay. I need a break.
Here's your other problem. Well, we can't get into it because you won't let me, because it's speculation on the next movie and things that are going to come in the future.
We're going to get to that. Well, let's go ahead. Let's move forward. So we're here. So we talk about all the deaths. Let's just go ahead and bust it, because you're ready to go into this. So we now have I saw the poster, and it's amazing. So as you can see,
it's easier to list the number of people who are still alive after this than it is to list all the people who died.
Well, let's talk about what I thought was, at first, I thought was the most depressing death. And then when I researched deeper into it, I think now it's the most tragic on-screen death in the entire cinematic universe. Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And if you watch it, when people get to the scene, they're going to notice everybody disappears. They just start turning to ash and disappear. They're existing. They're fading out of existence. Bucky is the first one to go. Black Widow.
No. So the people who are left alive.
Vision's dead.
Yeah, Vision got his head ripped out before Thanos did the thing. So Rocket's alive, Hulk is alive, the leader of the Dora Milaje is alive, I can't remember her name. Shuri's alive, Widow's alive, Thor is alive, Cap is alive, Rhodey's alive, Tony Stark is alive, Nebula's alive, and Rocket's alive, but the other guy from Doctor Strange, Wong is alive. So they're all fine. Everybody else is fucking dead. Everybody. So if it wasn't on that list, gone. This includes the king of fucking Wakanda.
So Black Panther is. I thought Black Panther was gone. The most shocking death.
Yeah.
But, all the Guardians, except for Rocket, kind of caught me unaware. But the one that stood out to me the most, and my brother said was the one that was the most he didn't expect it to be as emotionally impactful as it was on it. Peter Parker's death. Because Peter runs to Tony Stark's arms and says, I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
No, he falls down, and Tony comes over and picks him up in his arms.
Yeah, he says, I don't want to leave yet. And what got me about that was, if you remember, was I thought, wow, that's a really great scene, a pretty emotionally impactful scene, because it seemed like that father-son bond. He was watching his adopted son disappear. Somebody online kills me, and they go, hey, Peter's death is the most tragic. And I go, why? He said he was the only one, because of his spider senses, that knew he was about to disappear. Everybody else was kind of shocked when they started disappearing, didn't know what was going on. But Spider-Man's spider senses would have told him, you're about to disappear. And he articulates, he knows it's about to happen before the first part of him disappears. He knows he's about to go.
So the other one that will get you when I fucking point it out is when Scarlet Witch disappears, the look of relief on her face.
Oh, because she didn't want to live without Vision.
She doesn't want to live without Vision.
Yes, that was pretty brutal. At first I saw that and I was like, nah, maybe I'm thinking too deep into that. But I'm glad you said that.
No, it was real.
Yeah, I thought that was it. To me, once again, just shows what an amazing actress Miss Olsen is, because that was like, you noticed it. You kind of, as a married person, you start noticing little things like that. But that look that she was glad to be going, because she was going to go wherever he was. She wasn't going to have to. She looked to be so happy at that point, like, I'm relieved. And I was just like, that's powerful. I'm not relieved now. Okay,
um so there's a point where Doctor Strange uses the time stone before Thanos shows up on Titan to get the time stone. And he's been looking into all the possible futures. He looks into like 14.5 million or so. And there's only one path that he can guide everyone towards where it ends up okay.
And they win.
And they're going to win. And that path is the reason why he gives up the time stone when he gives it up. So Tony is the last one fighting Thanos. Like, that, I was like, God damn, how are you not fucking dead? Because, I mean, he took a full force fucking punch in the face from Thanos and got up and kept going.
He beat the armor off of that man. He was about to kill him.
Well, he ran out of nanites. That's what it was. Like, every time he would hit him, parts of the armor would break off, and since they broke connection, they would fall and just disconnect from the system and no longer be operable. And he literally ran the nanite reserve out of nanites, beating the shit out of Tony Stark.
He was about to deal the death blow, and that's where we get the famous line, I hope they will remember you as a hero. Yeah. And I was like, good God, he's about to kill this man. And I really thought that was how. Oh, God.
Stabs the
That's
shit
where
out
the
of
kid
him.
Lost it. That was the first time that kid lost his shit. And when he stabbed Tony Stark, that kid lost it. And I was just like,
the indication
soul just got ripped out of his body.
The indication that where we knew that we were being put on the right path was when he gave up the time stone and looked at Tony. He was like, no, this is the way it has to be.
Yes.
So, but
emotionally impactful.
I loved the fight at the end. Like, the big fight at Wakanda was amazing.
Oh, God, so good.
And I think going forward from here, so Thanos gets essentially an axe into the heart.
From Thor with Stormbringer.
Yeah, so Thor eventually his quest is go build Stormbringer. So he has to go to where his original hammer Mjolnir was forged, restart the forge. By the way, gigantic Peter Dinklage, the best part of the whole fucking movie. Restarts the reactor.
I got to give a shout out right now. Mike Estrada from work. Mike Estrada's wife was like, "How they gonna get a dwarf to play the tallest dwarf in a movie with dwarves?" Girl, wherever you are, thank you. You made my year with that one line. Yeah, bro. She messed me up with that one line. No, that was the greatest line ever.
So,
Peter Dinklage.
Groot finally. So Groot's just basically just been scenery the whole fucking movie. He does jack and shit the whole film until that the two halves of that hammer pop out of the forge and need a haft, and he literally grows a haft out of his own body for Stormbringer.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, they also throw in the throwaway line of, oh, this should be strong enough to be able to harness the Rainbow Road. And so that's how Thor gets to Earth, that's how Groot gets to Earth, that's how Rocket gets to Earth. They take the Rainbow Road, show up at Wakanda right at the right moment. Thor basically just staves Earth's ass by wrecking the fuck out of everything. and makes the mistake of just not. I mean, there were two things that he could have done. He could have fucking cut Thanos' arm off, which would have kept him from snapping his fucking fingers, or he could have hit him in the fucking head. And what does he do? Hits him in the chest. Because that's, I guess he wanted to look into his eyes and tell him that he beat him after he beat him, which, hubris, that's the problem. Again, hubris, like, if he had been trained to, one, to lose that, but two, to just kill Thanos. Because he wanted to kill Thanos, but he didn't have the wherewithal, I guess, to kill him the right way. And while ultimately it's all Peter Quill's fault for punching Thanos when they were about to get the glove off of him, it's really fucking Thor's fault for not just killing his ass.
Can we just go ahead and talk about this? And let's look at this whole movie. All these egos. Yeah. On their own, each person, Doctor Strange, egomaniac, Tony Stark, egomaniac. Like, we've argued before that Tony is the real villain of the MCU because all of the shit he's done is what leads to all the issues that they keep facing.
Yeah.
He built the weapons, him and extremists, he's always pushing about him and the AI and Ultron. So, Tony, we have said, is the villain of the MCU.
He helped engineer the weapons system that they brought online in Civil War to kill like half the fucking population on Earth of people who would have been against what's his name taking, or what's his face, the evil organization from taking over. I can't even remember for some reason. Huh?
AIM?
It wasn't AIM in the movie.
The last one?
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't AIM. Who was that one?
It was
the Roxxon Corporation, wasn't it?
Well, that was one of the corporations that was behind it, but no, it was fucking Red Skull's organization.
Oh, Hydra.
I don't know why I couldn't think of Hydra. But yeah, I mean, Tony built all the weapons that were going to power Hydra, enable Hydra to be able to kill everybody on the planet, or kill a lot of people on the planet. Like, most of the problems in the MCU begin and end with Tony Stark.
Yeah. And so that was the thing that it was always this story of everybody's ego. Ego. Quill's ego.
Yeah.
Tony's ego. Thor's ego. Hell, if we want to go further, that political candidate, the one that's, you think you're just going to show up right now and with all the half the heroes missing, and that's going to get you an apology because he was forcing the whole issue of the Accords. I mean, so his ego.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, my stick's bigger and testicular fortitude that drives these movies. But all that hubris is what's leading to failure every freaking time.
Thanos shows up and throws that purple dick down in everybody's faces.
Yeah, man. Thanos is nobody to play with, boy. He was really wrecking stuff.
So, as far as like predictions for the next movie, they show that the mold still exists for the gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
The Infinity Stone gauntlet, after he snaps his fingers, all of the gems are still in that gauntlet when he snaps his fingers. The gauntlet is ruined because he overloaded it, but Thanos still has all the stones, including the Soul Stone. So I think the next movie is going to be, we've got to find Thanos, kill his ass, take the stones, build another gauntlet, and then find somebody who can wield it to reverse everything. And that the other problem that they're going to have is the next movie is supposedly 5 years ahead of this one. So we've been 5 years on Earth without all of Earth's mightiest heroes, essentially. And in that 5 years, I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of fucking babies born. So by the time all those people show back up again on Earth, there really is going to be an overcrowding issue. Because there's 8 billion people right now, and in if 4 billion of them just disappear, the other 4 billion that are left are gonna go, well, fuck, we lost a lot of people. Let's make some more people.
Yeah, I don't know if you would, man, because guys that have been married won't be, just some guys and women would be like, I'm done, love of my life is out. So I think there's still going to be that mourning period. I mean, that's real world. If we think real world, but this is MCU, so why would we even try to bring that into it?
I mean, we have baby booms right now when motherfuckers win a goddamn Super Bowl. I don't think.
Yeah, but we ain't never had a baby boom because Thanos showed up. I would like to see.
But we've had baby booms after every single major conflict that took out hundreds of millions of people on this planet.
But why are you trying to bring real world into an MCU movie? That's ridiculous. That's a waste of time. Let's talk about who's going to be.
I'm not trying to bring the real world into the movie. I'm trying to set the precedent of, if there is a huge loss of life, humanity's gonna fuck to fix it.
I don't think they will in the MCU.
They will.
They will not.
They will.
MCU won't even address it or think about it.
I know they're not going to address it or think about it.
Everybody's gone, and they're going to have to go from that point. Now, have you seen that picture that showed up this week?
What?
The Ant-Man, Captain America, and Iron Man during the first film, so it looks like there's a time traveling element to this one. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that picture? So there's a picture going around where it looks like Ant-Man, Captain America in the outfit he wore in the very first Avengers movie, and Iron Man are together, and it looks like they're in downtown Manhattan during the Chitauri strike. Okay, so Ant-Man was not a part of the first Avengers film.
Yeah.
But he's in this scene, and they shot. There's some behind the scenes footage of it. So people have speculated.
Laughing. That I see
yes,
okay.
There's 3 different pictures, and there's one where they're talking to each other, where it looks like this is an actual scene from the movie where they were talking to each other, and somebody snapped a picture, and then the one where they're all laughing together. And so what you're starting to guess is there's going to be a time traveling element because they're at the Chitauri thing. Are they trying to get a stone by traveling back in time?
Maybe.
Now, here's the thing. In the comic, we know Adam Warlock was the wielder of the gauntlet. Adam Warlock was hinted at, but he is not in this movie, nor will he be around in the second one. In fact, what I heard was that, and it's from Kevin Feige, we probably won't even see Adam Warlock until 2022, somewhere in there. Like, they were not even going to address Adam Warlock in this universe until 5 years from now. So I thought that was crap. 4 years from now, maybe they'll get around to him. It's something like that. 4 or 5 years. It was really crazy.
Or that's a complete misdirect.
Could be. It could be. I think the person that's going to wield it is going to be Captain Marvel, who, if you stayed all the way through the credits and saw the last post-credit scene, that is who
This is the greatest line to end that movie on from Samuel Jackson.
Oh, man, he's disappearing. Nick, and you know what he's about to come next, and he disappears right when he's about to drop that F-bomb. And I'm like, well, that's a Samuel L. Jackson moment. That's what I would expect Nick Fury to do. Talking about deaths that shocked me, they took out Nick.
Yeah.
And Maria Hill.
And Colby Smulders, yeah.
Yeah, Maria Hill's goes. So, bro, you took out 2 of the biggest, but you know who's still out there somewhere? Coulson.
Yeah, because Coulson's in space. The whole team from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is in space this season. Like, the previous season ends with them basically getting taken up into a spaceship, and then they're fucking gone off Earth. I haven't watched the new season, but that's what happens at the end of the last season. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't even happening on Earth anymore.
Can't wait to see where this goes. I can't wait. I can't wait to see where it goes. We do know that everybody's dead. Only a handful of heroes left. We know the new film is going to be 5 years afterwards. We basically have to see what the after credit scenes are going to be in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And then we have to wait till March to see Captain Marvel. Because she's next.
Yeah.
and I think she's going to be the one that plays the biggest role in the next Avengers film, which is not even named yet. We don't even know if it's going to be called Infinity War Part 2, Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity For. We have no idea what. Nothing.
Just gotta wait and find out.
Bruh. Overall, where do you rank it?
With the other ones? I mean, the movie's 10 out of 10. If I want to rank it, I still think I think it's like, what's his face? Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
Then Infinity War. Then Civil War. And then it goes on down from there. Guardians
so Black
of the Galaxy.
Panther's out of your top 3 now. I know, because that's a tough one for you.
Yeah. Maybe, I think it slipped down 1. I think Black Panther is 4. And then Guardians is 5.
Yeah, I can't knock Guardians out of the top 5. Now,
but then there's Thor Ragnarok too, which is just, I mean,
to me, Thor. Okay, so let me say it like this: Winter Soldier and Black Panther switch places with me all the time. So that's 1 and 2. Those two kind of fight back and forth, and the reason is because Winter Soldier was a great spy film with superheroes in it. But it was also the first time that we linked the TV universe and the movie universe.
Mm-hmm.
And it was done in such a way that it was so phenomenal, they've never done it again.
No, they've never done it again because the guy who's in charge of their TV division basically just said, no, we're not doing this anymore because it's too hard to coordinate getting actors together and all of this other shit. Like, he just basically bitched and complained about it being hard and then stopped doing it. Even though it obviously isn't hard. Where the fuck is Lady Sif?
Great questions.
Because she wasn't in Thor Ragnarok. She didn't die. She was on Earth for a hot minute during Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in Season 1 with the crossover. And she's been gone ever since.
Great question.
I don't know why it just popped into my head, but I was like,
man, if she showed up in the next Avengers film, would you lose your shit?
I would be happy about it. I mean, I wouldn't. I'm not like crazy about Lady Sif or anything. I just find it interesting that they killed everybody else but Lady Sif, and we haven't seen hide nor hair of Lady Sif since. Like, nobody gives a shit that she's gone, and she's a major. I mean, not a major, like. If they were truly worried about female representation in films for the MCU, Lady Sif would be a good way to have a female-led movie where we're already introduced to the character. We don't have to do a backstory, and we can just have Lady Sif on an adventure.
I kind of want to see a Misty Knight Valkyrie combo of the Defenders series.
That would be awesome, yeah.
That's in the comic book. That happens.
That would be
Misty
like
Knight and Valkyrie started a detective agency, and Hellcat shows up.
That would be a Green Lantern, Green Arrow kind of combination too.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to see that happen. It'd be good. I think it'd be great for them.
I'm glad that they're giving her the arm. I do wish it was not the monstrosity that they've got on her in that picture, though. I wish that they gave her something cool. Like, I wish that she had a Bucky arm. Or at least something that looks like it was built by somebody other than a toddler. I mean, maybe there's gonna be CG or something on it that's gonna make it look better. But it looks like they're going with some kind of a practical effect for it and making it just something that she wears on her arm.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I mean, if the Rand Corporation has as much money as it does, they certainly could have bought a prosthetic from, Stark to give to her. I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a great movie. 10 out of 10. Go fucking watch it. It's worth your time and money. Go see it on a
before we
big
get out of
screen.
here, I got to ask you this. Online, people were mad at Peter Stark because he didn't kill Gamora like he promised he should have.
They were mad at Quill because he didn't kill
there was
Gamora?
people on Twitter mad at Quill saying he should have killed Gamora and none of this would have happened.
No, that's not true.
I was like, bro, first of all,
Thanos would have just
if you guys
found
remember,
her body,
he tried
turned
to
back
kill her.
time, and then gotten whatever he wanted out of her anyway.
Yeah, he was like, when he went to kill her, what did he do? He bent reality and made the bullets bubbles.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though, is just like what happened with Vision. If he'd have killed her before they even got to nowhere, it wouldn't have mattered, because Thanos would have just found her body, used the time gem, brought her back to life, gone, where the fuck is the stone? And then what we saw happen would have happened anyway. Just like I knew at the end of the movie, it didn't matter if she broke the fucking stone, because you can't get rid of the Infinity Stones. You can't do anything that gets rid of them because they are intrinsically tied to the universe. Mm-hmm. They will always exist.
Man, I can't wait. Man, we got some. Let's get out of here. We did a long enough show. I think we got a lot of good questions, but I think a lot of what we want to know won't be answered until we see June.
In 2 years.
Ant-Man and the Wasp are going to answer some questions for us. And then in March, when we see Captain Marvel.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that Captain Marvel movie, by the way.
Yeah, I'm really hyped for that. The thing that hypes me up for that is that it's been leaked that they're going to introduce the Kree and the Skrulls. And I'm telling you right now, if you're listening to this show, there's a comic book series called Secret Invasion. Read it now. Secret Invasion, that is your next Infinity Gauntlet level story. It will happen in the MCU when they introduce the Kree and the Skrulls. Get ready for it. Get your mind wrapped around it. It's going to be epic. And so, I mean, there's just no way. That story, the Kree Skrull War, ties in everybody. Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer, all the Avengers, the X-Men. Nobody's untouched by that. It's going to be big.
Yeah.
And so I would tell people collect the volumes now, because I'm not going to answer all your damn questions. I have people texting me.
I'm wondering if the X-Men are going to get introduced to the MCU because I'm assuming that we're not going to see them use the gauntlet until the very end of the next movie.
You totally just cut out on me. I didn't hear anything you said.
I'm sorry. I think that they're not going to use the gauntlet until the end of the next movie. And that's going to bring everybody back. And so as a part of that, they can then thread in the X-Men, and they can thread in Fantastic Four and all the other properties that they've just recently acquired by buying Fox. So I think the Infinity Gauntlet, when it's created, whoever is going to be using it is also going to be like, the world needs more heroes so that this can never happen again. X-Men.
Could be.
Possibly a reboot for the Inhumans, since the Inhumans are intrinsically tied with the Kree Skrull War. And hopefully we get something that's not that god-awful television show. Anyway, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, man. Brother, always a fun time talking with you. We'll definitely be watching everything, and we'll have to do another show, get back into this. I'm back to normal, it feels like. This felt good. And so we'll have to do some more shows over the next coming weeks as we get over the next few months. As we learn more stuff, we'll always come back to you with what we learn, man. So keep following us on Facebook and listening to the show. And thank you for putting up with us while we were gone. Peace.
Bye-bye.